ladies and gentlemen, this interview is brought to you by Employee Escape Plan. And if you are someone, you know you have talents, gifts, and abilities you're committed to bringing to the world in a way that earns you revenue, a business that helps you grow, helps impact people who are hungry and desperate and excited for what you have to offer. Maybe they don't even know about it yet, and you want to escape your soul-sucking job or just get more customers to pay you more money more often, then Employee Escape Plan is your ticket to freedom. Joe Nicasio, my previous business coach, amazing guy, still advises me today, worked with Les Brown, amazing guy. So I highly recommend, if you want to grow your business or start a business, employeeescapeplan.com. Again, that's www.employeeescapeplan.com. For the man of the hour, Brad Newman is a powerful entrepreneurial connector and agent of change. He specializes in their company's enrollment process and prides himself in being energetic and faithful in every connection. His unique history with addiction recovery and helping hundreds of others make transformational decisions has created an influential team and as an influential titan. Although he is very charming and decent, he will not accept anything less than giving your full self during your interactions. He has over 8 years' experience in being an intrapreneur within different types of organizations like Fortune 500, nonprofits, startups, and small companies. He's got a key eye for connecting resources, opportunities, people, and systems together to give you exactly what you need at the exact moment you need it. Brad, you ready to rock this? He's ready. He's ready. I love it. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your wisdom, all that's been working for you, as well as I know you've had some really challenging stuff go on in your life, man. So really appreciate you dedicating your time to serving others and sharing your life in a way that makes a difference.
I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate you for doing this and really building a foundation of like bringing people together, just like a hub of like the personal development and the growth, man. Like this is something special. This is something special. So whoever's listening, like in the right spot.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
So before we dive into your story and your journey, today's theme is who are you really? So it's about identity. It's about how we respond to that question, why we respond to that question, the perspective that we're looking at life through. So Brad, when someone asks you, who are you really? How do you respond to that question?
Ooh, so the human condition is so I first respond to the question by avoiding the question. So that's where I'll start. The human condition is so funny for me because who am I? A lot of the times it depends on the environment that I'm in and the space that I need to fill and the role that I need to play. Like, who am I? Like when I'm with my mother, you know what I mean? I'm a son.
Yeah.
And she only knows how to mother me one way. So there's like a certain energy. When am I with my brother or my sister? You know, I'm a sibling. Who am I when I'm like working with Brad Hart or Scott Olford? I'm sales. You know, I'm enrollment. Who am I when I'm like in my recovery meetings? Like I'm a gentleman in recovery. I'm working print. So it really depends, right? That's so interesting. It really depends like who I'm with, where I'm at. But at the core, I am just a soul connector, right? I just connect to souls. I let you connect to mine and I'll connect to yours. And so whatever creative process comes out of that, so be it. But at the core, connector, lover for sure. I'm a lover. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. For everyone who's listening, what Brad did was impeccable, right? How you shared that, how we first look at the question, why is this question coming at me? You know, what ways could I answer this question? How does it best facilitate me and who I am? How does it best facilitate the audience? And I thought you broke it down perfectly, and then you answered how you would honestly answer it. And for everyone out there listening, how do you answer that question? What's the first thing that comes to your mind when that question is asked? You know, does it put you in the defensive? Does it feel like, you know, you have to show up or answer in a certain way? Does it feel like your answer has to be good?
Right.
I know that's for me. I'm like, ooh, I'm going to be like really smart about this and like totally abstract in the universe.
Who's my audience right now? I need to I need to market myself just perfectly and put this brand on. Right.
Exactly.
Totally.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So I thought that was amazing. And we're asking everyone who comes on the show, who are you really? And it's just amazing. The quality of questions you ask really determines your life. And I'm going to start asking more questions as the theme for these marathons, you know, and just get what does each person say in response to this one question. I think it's a lot of fun. So now that we've had some fun, raised our spirits up a lot, we're going to go back and, you know, like let's take our audience into your past, your journey, how you got to where you are today and all the challenges that you had to get through and maybe even still be getting through, you know?
That's a fully loaded question.
Yes, it is.
Oh, boy. So it all started June 25th, 1990. That's my birthday for anyone. So my journey started of like, okay, so the question is like, how did I get here?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what were the moments, what were the dots that were connected, that were put in my place to be on this interview with you, to be in San Diego, to be a sales consultant in enrollment for Scott Olford and Brad Hart? Like, how did I get to this spot? Well, my journey, so this is for anyone who doesn't know, like I have suffered for a long time, for 7 years, from drug addiction. And I went to college, and right at the college point, it was like a transitional point in my life. Like, family broke up with that first love of your life that you always have, that you think is going to be the one, and then it's not. And just like transitioning out of high school into college, there's just like a lot of my whole structure, like my whole support system, my whole life was just like turned upside down in like a month, like the whole summer. And so I went to college and I'm lost. And I'm just like trying to fit in, just like any other 18-year-old guy is trying to do. And I decided to join a fraternity. And I'm like, they're like family, like they accepted me in. And like I stepped into it. And if anyone's not part of Greek life here who's never experienced, there definitely is a certain type of culture that goes along with it. And I ended up partying all the time. And what I was really doing, like, it was fun. It was fun for a while. But what I was really doing, I was stuffing. But I didn't know how else to really like process anything. I didn't know anything was wrong. I didn't know drinking 5 times a week is like not really serving me at the highest level.
That's not normal?
It wasn't normal. It was normal where I was, right? Yeah. Cultivating the environment. Everyone else was doing it. It didn't seem worse than anyone else. Smoking weed every single day, doing like cocaine every single day. In college, Adderall was huge, and like doing that all the time. Like, I'm like, oh, I just need this stuff. I need this stuff. So fast forward through college, I'm like a different human. I don't know who I am. Like, you asked me that question in college, like 7 years ago. Oh, I would have ran away from you, because I had no idea. I had no clue, because I was stuffing, I was numbing, and I wasn't really here. I was just a skeleton. And what we like to describe it as like spiritual death. I had a spiritual death, just wrapped in loneliness, despair, depression, hopelessness, helplessness, just like all the things that people like who suffer from that like commit suicide for. You know, it's just like, and that was what I was suffering with. And so I knew eventually things just started getting illuminated for me of like how this isn't a sustainable path for life. The outside stuff, like couldn't like hold a job, couldn't hold relationships. And And I thought it was just because of depression, really. I didn't really think that it was like have anything to do with drinking because it was so socially acceptable.
It's not your choices. It's like something else.
Right. It's like this outside entity that I don't have any control over.
Yeah.
Right. So like, I'm just going to be a victim for it and just going to do my best.
Man.
Right. And there was this one night, and this is like a little, I call this in recovery, we call this a God shot, where like, I'm like really messed up. And I'm like at Rutgers University in New Jersey, partying hard, doing all the drugs that I did. And like my ex-girlfriend was there at the time, and she didn't want to be with me. And so like I'm messed up, and I'm like, I'm leaving, I'm driving home. It's 3 a.m. It's December in New Jersey. There's ice. And I got in my car and I just was like blowing through stop signs. Like, and I didn't even realize I was doing it. And I was just like crazy stuff. I go up one of the street and like a cop pulls me over, and I'm like, whew. And like, I'm a good kid, like good suburban kid. Like, I don't like, she pulled me over, and I'm like, this is going to be a DUI. No doubt this is going to be a DUI. I had like a coffee and like a vitamin water trying to like mask my breath. And she comes up to the window and she asks me like for my insurance registration. I give it to her. She's like, is that like alcohol in your breath? I was like, oh, no. Chris, it's 3 a.m. on a Friday night at school. Like dangerous stuff. She runs my stuff. She comes back, and she's just like, just slow down, right? Just slow down. Just get home safe and slow down.
Oh my
I was like,
God.
I didn't even realize what happened until years later of like, that woman like saved my life.
Yeah.
Like 3 a.m. in December, icy roads, I'm blowing through stop signs. Like, so that next day, like I went to like a mental health facility because I knew something was wrong. And so I checked myself in. And then I checked myself in, and if no one has any experience with like the mental health community, they do like an intake form of like your history and stuff, just like any doctor. And they're like, do you suffer from depression? Yeah. Any other? Yeah. And they're like, and then they get to the drug. Like, do you drink? And I'm like 21 years old at this time. I'm like, of course I drink. I'm part of a frat. You know what I mean? And like proud about it. And then the questions just keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And she's like, well, how many times do you drink? I'm like, I don't know, 4 or 5 times a week. Well, how often? I don't know, 10 beers, 12 beers. There's a pregame, a game, and a postgame. So at the end, like, this is the first time I ever, like, it got illuminated for me that I might have a problem. She just looked at me square in the face and she said, like, do you think you have a problem with drugs? I was like, no. This is what everyone's doing, right? But I wasn't ready for like the solution. I wasn't even educated on like what was going on. So like offering me a solution, I immediately rejected it. She asked me to just join the program, follow it, and so I did. And so I stayed sober and abstinent while I was in this program. And during the program, they have like 12-step fellowship meetings come inside to like give their message. And of like why being clean and sober is like can change your life, and this is like a good path to walk on. And I remember them coming in, and I still don't think I have a problem. I'm not educated. I really don't see how it's I know it's making me internally angst, but I'm not seeing the other areas. And these messages keep coming in with like people who like they're telling me, so I'm just gonna get like real, like shooting heroin and smoking crack and like losing their families and being in jail. And they're like, my solution is 12 steps and sobriety and abstinence. And I'm like, that's not me. Right? You're giving me this solution for a problem that I don't have. Like, it's not me. And this happened like 3 or 4 times. And so like, I'm rejecting these ideas. I'm rejecting it. I don't have that. That's not me. I'm unique. I don't have that problem. Until this one woman came in, and they say, if you stick around, you hear your story. You'll hear your story through someone else. And she mentioned, she was like, I had a problem with drinking. I had a problem with weed. I had a problem with cocaine. I didn't lose my family. I didn't lose my job. No one really knew. Everyone was doing, I never did any more than anyone else. But like, I was feeling like this internal like guilt and shame. and like just unmanageability. And like every time she said something, I was like, I identify with that. I identify with that. Like, that's exactly what I did. And that's exactly how I feel. And then at the end, she was like, well, my solution is 12 steps of process. And now I have peace and freedom and direction and purpose. And like in that moment, my mind was like, like she described exactly what I was experiencing and then described exactly what I wanted. And she put the solution in place and connected the dots like that. And I was like, oh my God. And then like ever since that day, I've been in recovery. And so to fast forward a little bit, how does that relate today? Like who I am and what I do today is that having the right message in front of the right person within the right mindset in the right environment literally saves people's lives because it saved mine. Right. And so now I help build the bridge for others in order to get their message out so they can have the impact that was like the same impact that was on me.
Wow.
And so like it all meant after that 3 years later, like I'm like in like a perfect opportunity to like really step into my calling of like changing people's lives through messaging, marketing, and sales. And that is like how I got here. That was like the pivotal moment of like, that is my mission. And like, this is what I'm being called to do.
It's freaking beautiful, dude. It's beautiful. Like you're like dialed in, and I'm sure people wish they could see that one event that, you know, transformed everything for them. And now that's why they live their life the way that they live, and et cetera, et cetera. What work did you have to do after that event happened to be able to articulate it in the way that you articulate it now? Because I'm sure, like, as soon as it happened, you weren't like, I'm the bridge.
I had to do a lot. Oh my God. The amount of internal work and work with others is paramount. I probably spent, I am an expert in internal work. Like I have that 10,000 hours for sure of just working on myself with others. And the way I got to the clarity of the message was just talking about messages that don't resonate, right? Just like, who am I and what am I doing? And like just speaking it to existence. And I'm like, close, but that's not me. Close, that's not me. I have literally just like notebooks and notebooks and notebooks and notebooks of just like getting clear and seeing the steps. Like who you had on the show before, Brad Hart, he always tells me, he's one of my mentors, you can always connect the dots going back, but you can't connect the dots going forward. And so how did I do it? Right? The internal work, working with others, right? Mentorship, mastermind, and just like a dedication to understand that clarity is power. Right? And so if anyone's, how do we do it? Get clear on just a message and just see how it resonates with you and someone else. And then just continue to hone. It's just a constant alignment process. And I do it through writing and prayer.
That's beautiful, man. Beautiful. Yeah. So tell us more about what you're doing today in the fields of, you know, helping people develop their message. Like, how do you do that? What kind of questions do you ask? Let's get a foundation for that so we can understand more.
Yeah, totally. So I always go deep quickly.
Good.
Why are you doing what you're doing? Yeah. What's your story? You know, and a lot of the times people tell their stories and the message comes out so clearly. Sometimes they just don't hear it because they're just so close to it. So I just ask them, like, what's your story? What's going on? And I just pick out like what I do these Zoom conferences all the time, and you can just see it in their eyes and in their body of like when they get excited about something, that's something that brings them alive. I'm like, let's focus on that, whatever that may be, right? Because that's where the clarity and the power lies, is something that like is an internal motivation, internal inspiration. And then on the opposite side, I really help people get clear on like the stuff that's going wrong or that's painful. Like, how deep does it go how long have you been experiencing this? What other areas of life is this same pattern coming up? Like something that I notice is a pattern with a lot of entrepreneurs, and there's no judgment here, just observation, is a lot of the times they have these products and these offers, but they don't know exactly who they serve. I serve this person, I serve this person, I serve this person. I'm like, well, then who is it? Right. And just being like real, like we need to get clear, because everything manifests, and it is from that one, that like the Big Bang, like it just starts from that one point. And so if that's not dialed in, everything else is kind of loosey goosey. And that's a leak. That's an influential leak, right? There's, I took a course by Eli Wilhide, who's the top Tony Robbins salesman of all time. People say that the only reason Tony outsold him is because he had a 30-year head start, which is amazing. And so he's like one of my idols. And he says there's a triad to influence, and one is power, one is authenticity, and the other is clarity. And so if you're not influencing the way that you know you're capable of, you may have a leak in one of them. And that's where the work needs to happen.
That's beautiful, man. Beautiful. Yeah. So where do you find most people get stuck in receiving that clarity or dialing in their story?
It is the authenticity part. Eli also says, success and accomplishments impress people. Vulnerability connects people. And so there is a revolution coming in the marketing and sales field where it's like systemization and automate and just like things being automated is like, it's old news, right? It's old news. Like it has to be human to human connection.
Yeah. Like
real, vulnerable, transparent, authentic, and like having your messaging and your system to be able to be real and human driven, not just like metrics and profit and budget driven. It's a huge shift that I'm seeing.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So where have you found, getting to your next level, your next stage in life? What's your next big challenge, the next thing that you're dealing with to be able to get there?
Insecurity. Insecurity. I noticed that it doesn't matter what level I manifest at, the insecurity and the fear always speaks the same language in the same voice. It doesn't change. You can't do this, Brad. You're not smart enough. You're not persuasive enough. You're not clear enough. You don't have you can't handle blah, 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 blah. Right. And so it's always a process of just dancing with that, like exposing that. Because I know for me, there's a couple of things that we say in recovery that, pain shared is pain lessened. So if there's fear in people's like business and personal life, like if you're hiding it, you're only giving it more power. And so finding a trusted individual through prayer or meditation to release that energy, man, release it. Secrets and like fear, it dies at the light of exposure. Because what I know for me, like even me just saying it now, I'm like, dude, it sounds ridiculous. Like, look where I've come from. Like, why am I afraid?
Right.
And I just honor the fear, right? This is my process of like honoring it because it keeps me alive. It's a survival mechanism. It's protecting me. Yeah. So thank you, fear, for doing that. But in this instance, of like serving people at the highest possible level to relieve suffering, right? To be principle based in your business and in your life, it doesn't serve me right now. And just like, honestly, you just holding space for me right now is like part of the process. And so just backing up a little bit, like people ask like, how do you do your work? Like the internal work. It's like, I've had 10,000 conversations like this. Over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And I say the same thing to people in recovery who have suffered from either mental illness or drug addiction. It's the how. Like, how do you do it? Honesty, open-mindedness, willingness, just to do this over and over and over and over again.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
It's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love it. I love it. So why do you think people stay stuck in their stories, like holding on to onto the fear and the anxiety and the shame? Like, why do you think they stay stuck, and what can we start doing about that to loosen that, to release that, to let go of that?
So I've come accustomed to only speak for myself. I don't
Yeah.
like giving advice so much, but my experience is why I stay stuck is because I cannot see beyond the bend of like what my life would look like if I were to like give up the fear and give up the insecurity. Cause it's like, it's a normalization. It's a comfort of like, oh, I know this like staying stuck feeling. But I don't know what's on the other side. You know, maybe I'll be more stuck if that's even like a thing. Like even just saying it out loud sounds insane.
Right.
It sounds insane. On the other side of fear is like the freedom. And so that's what keeps me stuck is like a lack of perspective, a lack of vision. That's really what it is of like, what's possible? What's possible? And I think you mentioned this before, like how do people get unstuck? It's the quality of questions that we ask ourselves. And Eli even says this too. I invite you to consider the possibility of what would your life look like if you weren't stuck?
Yeah.
I would wake up and I'd roll out of bed and I'd look in the mirror and I'd be naked and beautiful and I'd be excited to just conquer the day and talk to whoever I need to talk to and help someone move their life. Like, what would my life look like? What would it feel like? What would it taste like? Who would be with me? So how do I do it? And how do others do it, right? The quality of questions, man. You nailed that on the head in the beginning.
That's
the quality
awesome.
of questions. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that principles, right? Principles are what drive a business. So what are the principles that we need to understand and create a foundation of, start crafting to be successful? I know you talked about authenticity. Is it those three things? Are those the principles that you focus on, or what other principles do we need to know and focus on?
There's a couple.
Okay.
For me, it's courage. Having the courage to have the conversation, right? Sometimes I know for me, for business, for entrepreneurship, to say what I think sounds good, right? But have the courage to like really like have boundaries and your expectations and really say what you mean. So courage for sure is huge. It's a great question, right? The honesty, right? Because especially in the day and age that we are in, like the manipulation is, it's easy to play on people's fears. It's really freaking easy. Right? But what are we attracting in that way? Transparency, right? I sometimes start my conversation, like when I like deviate from script, whatever that means, and I just go, I'm going to be honest and transparent, and like literally just like break down walls, because that's what it's really about, is breaking down walls, lowering resistance, gaining trust, right? And how do you gain trust with someone in business and in life, right? Vulnerability and consistency, right? Consistency, discipline. And I am all value principle based, and maybe that's a shortcoming of mine, of sometimes strategies and systems aren't my strong point. But I just know for me that these principles are timeless. And they go through they're here before I was, they will be here after, they work. All I have to do is just step into them. So I think courage, honesty, transparency is foundational.
Do you think that Like, what will it take for people to start believing in that, to start living those principles, start eschewing those and speaking those, in addition to us, like, you know, being the example, being the leaders? What else do you think it'll take?
I think it'll take their own trial and error. Try lying to a prospect and overcommitting and under delivering and see what kind of results it brings into your life.
Man.
Do it to your spouse. Do it to see what's coming into your life through like a dishonest, deceitful, manipulative, fear-based business. There's only 15 slots left. We know it's bullshit. we know it's not true. You're not going to turn a right business, right? And then see what happens. See what type of people you start to attract when you really live in your authenticity of, this is who I am. This is why I do what I do. Do we align? We do? Perfect. Let's transfer some energy, money. And that's it. It's freaking awesome.
Wow.
It's freaking awesome.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah.
What other lessons have you learned from being around two amazing mentors like Scott and Brad, dude?
There's levels to this.
Yeah.
There's levels to this, man. What I realize is, it's all mindset. There's a course on the strategy. It's usually for free, or I can like beta it or whatever. You know what I mean? It's all mindset and implementation. So something that I have learned from them is they have really like challenged me in seeing the world as abundant and that it's constantly working for me, not against me. And I'm like, the part of me still is like, I hear you, but it's not resonating, right? So I know I'm not there yet because they say it and they believe it and then they attract it. So like, I know it's working. And every day Brad's like, it's working for us. It's working for us. And Scott is like, he's like, once you live in abundance, like money means nothing. It just gets transferred to you because you're just attracting it. And so I'm not there yet to like, really, I'm not in their shoes yet, but I know what works for me is just get myself around these people and start asking quality questions and be hungry and thirsty. Like I have an insatiable hunger. And I used to use that on drugs. Now I use it on like bettering myself so I can better the world. And this abundance concept, it's new to me. I thought the world used to be very scarce and limited and protect very like, I'm from Jersey, you know what I mean? Like, why are you looking? Like, lock your door. Like, lock your stuff up. Like, it's not mine. But now it's much more collaborative. This is such a better world to live in.
Is there any habits that you've seen them having, or leadership styles?
Yes. They have two totally different leadership styles.
I believe it.
It works both for them. I have better insight on Brad's habits because his room is right there because I live with him. Right. And so what we do in the morning is we wake up early, we go run on the beach, and then we go dive in the ocean and we yell at the ocean. Yeah. Because I know this something affects me profoundly. I think that men in this country, in society, suffer from a lot of anger. Yeah. And they don't know how to facilitate that in a healthy way. So if there's any men out there who are angry, like myself sometimes, frustration, anger, peeved, irritation, it's all the same thing. Go yell into nature, just from the belly, just we can handle it. And just like let it out, man. Like you don't need to hold on to that. So with me and Brad, we're dialed in with like eating and exercising and staying in peak state and movement and motion. Scott is like, he just like has this like relaxed, he's just brilliant. And he just like kind of attracts like all these high level people, and he has his own way of doing business. It's very, he's just an innovator.
Yeah.
All he does is innovate. And we need to be there like, yo, Scott, let's implement this first thing, you know, before we move on to the next. But like his heart and his mind is constantly like, how can we make this better? How can we make this better and larger and grander? And so I actually met with Scott for 5 days, and just like watching him go about his day, and it's very casual. It's very like soft, and like he takes a lot of his calls in the hot tub and just relaxed, so that, you know, there's no, you know, he's just trying to change lives, right? And do the right thing. There's no like pressure to do anything. And it's really amazing to be along with these like high-minded men and titans in their own right.
Yeah. Dude, brilliant. So in addition to these leaders, you're also a part of Masterminds and learning from those. So why don't you share about your experience in Masterminds and what value you've gotten out of it and how it's made a difference for you?
Yes. Masterminds is just like, it's the same thing I do at my recovery meetings, right? We talk principles, we talk like, what's going on? How can we help you? And I just transfer that into like my business and my business life, my consultant life, my entrepreneur life, because it works in that area. I'm like, why can't it work in this area? So the main thing that I realized and I stumbled across this hack that worked for me is I went to my first Tony Robbins event in July and walked on fire and made my move and said yes, and like step up. And like I was on top of the world for like 2 weeks. Not knowingly, I joined a mastermind at the event. And so what ended up happening is we all went to the event together, and then we all masterminds for months after. And what I noticed with a lot of people was that, especially started to reach out to people after the event, people lose momentum after the event, and they lose the accountability after the event. And the immersion event is so transformational, is because you're doing it with 10,000 other people.
Yep.
Right? That's why it's transformational. You're doing the same thing at the same level with thousands of others. And then you leave, and then you're by yourself. And your family didn't go. They might be questioning, what is this like cult that you're in? You walked on fire, or you initiated type stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So like I plugged myself into a mastermind that is like-minded in that way, entrepreneurship and personal development, right after the event. And the momentum has just kept going and going, because the accountability and the atmosphere, being plugged into that high-minded, high love, like let's attack problems and processes, not people type of atmosphere. That is like the biggest ROI there is.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's gold. Gold. Everyone listening, find a mastermind that is absolutely effective, right? There's masterminds out there. There's accountability groups. Make sure that they like really have you step up and play at a higher level. Make sure you're not the smartest person in the room.
I'm not. I'm definitely not. Are you part of a mastermind?
What? Am I?
Yeah.
Dude, absolutely. Men's group.
Cool.
Got 4 other guys in there just kicking each other's butts all day long.
That's the way to do it, man. That's the way to do it.
Yes.
I was talking with someone, another like mentor friend. I have so many mentors, maybe too many. And he said, how do you because I started to procrastinate in some of the things that I do. And he's like, dude, this is the hack of how to not procrastinate. And it really comes down to accountability. He said, schedule what you need to schedule with someone else, put it in your calendar, and make sure you just show up to that. Right? So using the leverage of letting someone down, whatever, right? I'm here to produce and to give back. Leave the emotions aside for a second. Let's show up, because I know there's a big ROI. There's a reason why I'm doing it. I'm avoiding it. And that's the reason why I need to do it, because it's going to push me further along and help me systematize my life. I'm actually doing that in one area of my life right now. Right? I'm so good at just interacting with people that an area that I lack is I need to systematize the sales process on the back end. in order to like step by step, Pop, this is what you need to do in the CRM, and this is what you need to log, and like all this boring stuff for me. And so what I do is I go to my COO and like, this is how I need to be helped. I need you to just sit on the camera and just be there while I do this. So there's no way out of it. And then it gets done.
Yeah.
And then it gets done magically, right? Accountability is crucial.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
Awesome. So what other principles can you give us that will help us succeed, man, and live in a personal business, a personal and principle-based business to make sure that we crush it?
The one that just came up for me, maybe this is just where I'm at, is forgiveness. Forgiveness, man.
Man. It's coming up a lot for me too.
Hell yeah.
Damn.
Forgiving ourselves for these mistakes, you know, for those failures or learning lessons, and just, you know, being gentle with myself, with the process. It's okay, right? It's totally okay. Forgiveness.
Beautiful.
I love
All
you.
right, man. So as we begin to start wrapping up now, what are the final takeaways you want our audience walking away with and really implementing into their life after this interview?
Yeah. So principles of honesty, open-mindedness, right? Honest of where you're at and what you need to do and who you are. Open-minded to try maybe something new that you haven't thought of or that you have thought of that might help. And willing to do whatever it takes. Like that's the only way it works for me. I'm willing to do, invest, expend any amount of energy, like no matter what. It's the type of attitude. And so really living in those three, coupled with a little bit of courage to dance with that fear and a little bit of forgiveness, no matter what, man. Of like, you didn't make the sale, it's okay. You lost out on a couple $1,000s on your ad spend. It's okay, man. It's okay. Let's just attack the process now. What went wrong in the process? That's all it is. That's all it is. And then for anyone who's a business owner or an entrepreneur, like Brad always teaches me, and I'm sure you might have said this on your podcast before.
Say it again.
Yeah. There's only 4 aspects to any business: it's leads, sales, value delivery, operations, and systems. My strong point is in sales and leads, and making and just getting inside the shoes. You have to be so empathetic. It takes like a different level of empathy to, if you're inside the shoes of your best customer, your best client. If you can, or if I can, right? If I can verbalize their pains, their problems, and their visions better than they can, like they automatically give me permission to help them. And that's just why we're here. This is why we're doing what we're doing, is to help people get from where they are to where they want to go quickly. Quickly. And so there just has to be a lot of empathy with that.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So, Brad, what's on the horizon for you? I know we were talking about that horizon and being able to see past it. What do you see your soul's calling? What do you see this message of being the bridge, of helping people discover their message? How do you see that enveloping for you? How would you like it to envelop? How would you like to see yourself in the next couple of years?
Yeah. So what I really see, I think really where my core purpose vision is somewhere disrupting the addiction services field. And I'm learning all the tools right now to be able to do that. I'm like honing my craft of like how to put things together, how to solve the problems, how to enroll people in a vision, and like influence. And I'm learning right now of like how to do that, because I've seen it both sides. I've been in the rehabs and I've worked for a rehab, and it's outdated. Just like our fear-based scarcity marketing tactics that we're seeing we're moving away from, how that's outdated, and now the industry is innovating. It's the same thing in the addiction services field. So I feel that it's like I'm getting introduced to people who are in this field, and I know it's impactful. I don't know how big it is, but it's going to change some lives.
Yes.
It's going to change some lives. Yeah.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Absolutely, man. So, Brad, what do you want people to do next, and how do they stay connected with you?
You can just add me on Facebook, and that's it. And just follow me.
Dude,
That's
so
it.
easy. So simple.
Simple. Micro commitment.
Yes.
I'll
Awesome,
sell you
man.
into the $20,000 car later.
That's coming. That's coming. Don't worry, it's coming.
Yes. Or not. We'll
Or
see.
Oh my gosh, the takeaway.
Perfect.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. So Brad, dude, you're amazing, man. Thank you so much for the work that you've done on yourself and the work that you're doing in the world, and being with these amazing mentors and teachers and leaders, and really just like putting yourself at issue, the whatever it takes mentality. You've clearly demonstrated that, and you live that to be around the quality and caliber of people who you're with, because they're legends, legends either now or in the making, like that. It's just amazing seeing you grow, and I'm so excited to watch your journey unfold and all the progress you make, man.
Hell
It's
yeah,
awesome.
dude. And I feel the same way for you. There's a reason why we are aligned,
Yes.
right? We attracted each other into our experience. And so game recognized game.
Yes. Yes, dude. Absolutely. Well, Brad, have the best day ever, the best week ever. Crush it, man. Celebrate, love life, forgive. Trust the
yeah.
process.
Hell yeah.
And we'll see you soon, okay?
Thanks, Chris. It was a pleasure being on, brother.
Awesome, man. Take care.